Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and good Shabbos, and Shana Tova, and Gemar Tov. Right, so that's the order of blessings in a way when you greet somebody. Right, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos, because we say that every week, and it's the biggest of our holidays. Shana Tova, because we say it for just about a little over a month, and then Gemar Tov from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. And so that's the proper blessing for Shabbat this week. It's the first week of 5782. Parshat Nitzavim. No, I'm sorry. Vayelech. Nitzavim was last week. Vayelech. It was a beautiful, beautiful day here in Huntington. The sun was out. There were some big clouds in the sky, but the weather was cool, and the dogs enjoyed being outside. They didn't want to come in, but that's the weather. And again, it's a beautiful Shabbat evening here as we move out of Rosh Hashanah into the period of the 10 days and Yom Kippur. All right, it is Shabbat, and it's a regular Shabbat in a way. It's called Shabbat Shuvah because it's the Shabbat right before Yom Kippur. And but it's just a regular Shabbat otherwise. And so we have Suzanne here, and she's got the honor, the mitzvah of benching Licht for us this evening. And so she's going to give us an English reading, and then on page 3, and then the blessings on page 2.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Still, let me try.
Yeah.
I will see if I can get it to go for you.
Look at that.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
There you go. See, I loosened it.
Thank you.
Or you loosened it,
No, you
as they say.
Oh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. All right, thank you, Suzanne.
You're welcome.
All right, it is time for Kabbalat Shabbat, time to welcome the Shabbos bride or the Shabbos queen. Either one is fine, and we're going to start that on page 20 with Lecha Dodi. And let's see, verses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 and 9. All right, 1 through 5, 8 and 9. Lecha Dodi, brought to us by the mystics of Tzfat. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'ahanu elam yuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmaho echad, L'shem ultiferet v'lit hila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, Ki mekor ha-bracha, Merosh mikedem nehesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Mikdash melech yimelucha, Kumitzei mitohafecha, Ravlach shevet b'yemecha b'cha, V'hu yachamol alaychem la, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela, Itna ari me'afar kumi, Livshi bigdei tifartei chami, al yad ben ishe bat lachmi, korva el nafshi gala, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela, hitorari, kiva orek kumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kvod Adonai alayich milah, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela, yamin usmol tihifrotzi, v'et Adonai ta'aritzi, al yadish ben partzi, v'nihi smecha v'nagila, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela, Ohi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha uv'sohala, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Page 22, Psalm 92, one of the 90s that we use on Shabbat. The exception is in the group of Psalms that we read for Kabbalat Shabbat. We start with in the 90s and go up into the 90s, 6 of them, and the 7th one is Psalm 27, which is a whole different psalm. And so page 22 is the Psalm for Shabbat. And let's read the outdented paragraph in English and then go back to the Hebrew for Tzaddik Katamar. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai. How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzaddik katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon, yihiske shetulim, beveit Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu, ojenuvun b'seiva, deshenim vera'ananim, yihiyu lehagid, ki ashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatabo. Page 24, we'll welcome the angels that come to visit us this Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShaharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh. Kadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have Welcome Shabbat, and we are getting ready for our Avit. And we're going to change something a little bit. We usually jump to 145 and do Chatzi Kaddish, but Chatzi Kaddish is kind of like a comma in a sentence. It marks changing from one part of the service to the next. Kabbalat Shabbat is its own service, and it's traditional and proper to end Kabbalat Shabbat and every service with Mourner's Kaddish. So we're going to end Kabbalat Shabbat with Mourner's Kaddish, because that's how I was taught. And we're going to jump to page 294. Mourners and those observing Yartzeit can join in, and then we'll go back for Baruch Hu. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divra kirutei v'yamlik malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam v'lomei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiram v'yalma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Page 146, we'll go back to Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Page 147. Let's read responsively in English. Your Majesty, Adonai, your Majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom.
Day follows day in succession, and the year stands. Your sovereignty endures.
Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. Had the High Holiday Nusach in my head there for a moment. Page 148, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Havta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachmeinu uv'kumeinu, Nasiach bechukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, U'v'mitzvotecha, Le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayinu v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, Uvahem nehege yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatecha tasir mimenu li'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom halavavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlektecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvi sharecha leman tizkeruhu v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim leloechem Ahani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 151. Let's read responsively in English. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness of Lucifer grasp is imperfection and evil.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone that we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learn God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate His power that makes us real.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nohora tehilo, ohosei fele, malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe, ze eli anu v'amruhu, Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed v'nemar ki fad Adonai et Yaakov u'ga'alo mi'et chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai ga'al Yisrael. Top of 153, Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Let's read together in English. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, Aporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Amo Yisrael, V'al Yerushalayim. Page 154 at the top, verses from the book of Shemot, from the book of Exodus, reminding the people Israel to keep Shabbat, that it is a sign, it's an oath between us and God, and it's really not Shabbat without it. We know it as Vishamru, top of page 154. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל B'nei Yisrael ohoti li'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berith olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berith olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berith olam. We are at the centerpiece of the evening service for Shabbat, the Amidah, page 155. And this evening we have a number of insertions throughout the Amidah in the Hebrew and in the English. Wherever it says Shabbat Shuvah, that's the Shabbat we're at right now between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we're going to add those words or those sentences, whatever they may be, and they're spread throughout. So when you're going through on the silent part of the Amidah, pay attention to those words that say Shabbat Shuvah. But we're going to begin on 155, and then once we go silent, you can continue reading in the English or in the Hebrew or offer up your own prayer at this time. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot ve'imahot, u'mevi goel lifnei b'neihem, leman shemo v'yahava. Zochreinu l'chaim, melech hafetz b'chaim, v'kohodveinu b'sefer ha'chaim, Lemancha Elohim Chaim. Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magin. Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Abraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor l'olam Adonai, Mechayei metim atarab l'hoshia, Morid hatal. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechayei metim berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech oholim, umatir asurim, umechayei emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha Baal Givorot, Umidom Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Michamocha Av HaRachamim,
זוכר יצרף לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
Still completing your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. The Zochrenu we used this evening was the Zochrenu taught to a teacher of mine many years ago by his father, who was taught by his grandfather. So that's like 3 generations worth of that nigun for Zochrenu. So not 100% high holiday, but the high holiday nusach is in there if you look for it. Page 160, let's continue in English together, 160 in the middle. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Page 163, a little bit of gratitude. Lots to be grateful for this week. Rosh Hashanah, 2 days worth. Brand new year. Brand new calendar of Shabbatot. And so we're here together this first Shabbat of 5782. It's also a leap year, just so you know. So then high holidays next year will not come this early in the English calendar, but they will be right on time in the Hebrew calendar. So if you just follow the English calendar, it always seems that they're early or late. Nope, they are right on time. But next year, we add an extra month, a whole month. The first of the Adar 1. You would think we would add Adar 2, right? But Adar 1 is the extra month because Purim has to be a month away from Pesach. And if it were Adar 2 that was the extra month, Purim would be in Adar 1, and it would be 2 months between Purim and Passover. And we can't have that. So Adar 1 is counterintuitively the extra month that we will have this year. So we can be grateful for that, right? The high holidays will be a whole month later on the Hebrew calendar, or a whole month later. Still Tishrei, and I forget, the Hebrew year is longer. longer than the English year. So go figure. But so for all the things that we're grateful for, the big ticket items, the smaller items, the ability just to get up is something to be grateful for. Let's read responsively on 163. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise is the source of being.
All right, and we close out this evening with Shalom Rav. And what we'll do this evening is we'll sing Shalom Rav as usual. And then for the addition for Shabbat Shuvah, we'll read it together in English so we get an idea of what all these insertions are. And then we'll close out with the blessing. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol heit uvechol sha'a bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Remember to inscribe us in the book of life for blessing, peace, and prosperity. Include all your people, Israel, for a good life and peace. Blessed is Adonai, source of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, oseh hashalom. We're going to jump ahead to 253 for the Mishaberach, middle of page 253, Mishaberach. Mishaberach Ahavoteinu Mikor habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha li'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Page 258 and 259, the prayers for our community. And we'll read these together. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction,
and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levatcha b'yirah na'avod. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. Sha'alu shalom Yerushalayim, yishlayu ohavayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shabbat Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Tzmichat Geulatenu, Hagen Aleha B'Yevrat Chasdecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orchav Amitecha L'Rosheha Sareha V'Yoetzeha, V'Takneim B'Eitzah Tova Milfanecha, V'Natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'Simchat Olam Liyoshveha, V'Nomar Amen. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. All right, friends, this evening, this Shabbos is Parshat Vayelech. Usually often, Nitzavim Vayelech. It's usually, no, never mind. But Vayelech, very near the end of the book of Devarim, we only have really two more parshiot to go before we start all over again with Bereshit. This week, Moshe announces that he is 120. Right? So if you remember what your grandparents might have said when they would say, wish someone a happy birthday, they would say, bis 120 und a Tag, right? Until 120 and a day. Right? The 120 is you should live as long as Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, and the day is, God forbid, you should die on your birthday. I had a dear friend named Beulah, wonderful woman named Beulah. Her actual name was Beulah. And she used to say, on my birthday, she would say, bis 120 und 2 Wochen. She would say 120 and 2 weeks. I'd say, Beulah, why? I understand 120, thank you. But the 2 weeks? She said, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. So Moses announces that he is 120 and that he can no longer lead the people. He's done. He's tired, right? He's led them this contentious bunch for 40 years in the wilderness. He brought them out as slaves and did his very, very best to transform them into a nation. He reassures them, though, that even without him, they will still be successful in conquering the land. And he installs Yehoshua ben Nun, Joshua, as the next leader and says, fear not, don't worry. All right? Out of all the phrases in the Bible, fear not is the most common, is the most repeated phrase in the entire Bible. Right, and that cuts out things like Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe or Vayomer Adonai, which are lead-ins to sentences. But the most common, the most popular, the most repeated phrase is "Do not fear." He writes the Torah down. Right, the book of Devarim tells us that Moshe writes the Torah down and he gives it to the priests, so that the priests should hold on to it. and that it should be read to the people every 7 years on Sukkot. It's interesting, right? I mean, we read the Torah every week, or we study the Torah every week, and originally Moshe wrote it down and said every 7 years. I would imagine it would coincide with the sabbatical year. On the festival of Sukkot, you will read this to the people. I mean, I, along with other scholars, feel that the book of Devarim was written much later. It was written after the land was conquered and then appended to whatever we had as the Torah. And so I would imagine that whomever wrote the book of Devarim, that was their Torah cycle, once every 7 years during Sukkot. God tells Moshe that he will soon die and to bring Joshua to the tent of meeting. God tells Moshe and Joshua that the people will worship idols and they will forget the Torah, that God will abandon them and punish them, and they will realize that they are suffering because God is not in their midst. They'll know that God is not in their midst, and they'll know that that's because they have sinned. And for the book of Deuteronomy, as we've talked a number of times, the big sin in the book of Deuteronomy is idol worship. And now, even in the 21st century, idol worship is a problem. We might not be worshiping little statues, but if I go to take your iPhone or your iPad, you'll have a fit. You're always checking it. Even some people during shul check their phones, right? So idol worship is anytime you put something before your relationship with God. So it doesn't have to be a little stone statue that you pray to. It could be anything that allows you to ignore what God wants from you, what God wants from us. So Moshe, in order to allay the fears of the people when this happens, when God abandons them, he composes a poem for them to be read during these times. So then Moshe gives the Torah again to the Levitical priests to put into the Ark of the Covenant. Right? So they're going to take the stone tablets, the Shnei Luchot HaBrit, the 2 tablets of the covenant are in that ark, that Aron Kodesh. And now this Sefer Torah, this Torah scroll goes in there. Moshe goes out of the tent of meeting one more time to address the people. And he calls them stiff-necked one more time, right? I mean, this is his last speech. It's coming up. This is the very end. This is his swan song. And he has to get that one more little bit of a zetz in, calling them stiff-necked. But he calls the elders forward so he can read the poem. And that's what we get next week, Moshe's poem, Ha'azinu. And that's the penultimate Torah portion of the Torah, the penultimate one, the last one. All right, so everyone, Shabbat Shalom and Gemar Tov. That was Parshat Nitzavim, your Torah portion in a nutshell. So as of late, and I mean, I started saying Shana Tova, the beginning of Elul. I said it's fine to start saying it then. And we've heard it a lot lately, especially this week, right? People wishing each other Shana Tova, right? Shana Tova, a good year. You could put the preposition la in front of it. L'shana tova, for a good year, or to a good year, right? So no surprise there. And the word shana does in fact mean year. It's a great word, shana. It's feminine, right? Shana tova, right? So you have a little handy Hebrew phrase there, a good year. But it also means so much more than just a year. If you've studied Hebrew at all, or if you want to study Hebrew, let me know. Hebrew is based on a system of roots, right? Most of the words have a trilateral root. Some have 4 letters, but every word, every major word, every verb, lots of nouns, all are based on a trilateral root is what it's called by linguists and philologists. And all words that share that root have similar meanings or are related, right? So we know the word shalom comes from the Hebrew word shin lamed mem, And so from shalom, we get shalem, we get shlemut, and all of them have to do with being whole or complete. All right, so we say shalom, we have shalem, we have shlemut, we have, and so all the words. Those of you who are studying Genesis with me, Aleph Mem Dalet, Aleph Dalet Mem, Adam, put a hey on it. Adama means earth or soil. Adam is a man's name, right? So all related. The word, the root shin nun hey, from where we get shana, is also a root. It means year. And also creatively, it can also mean change, right? There's a famous Hebrew phrase, shinui hamakom, shinui hamazal. If you change your place, you change your luck, right? And mazal actually doesn't really mean luck, means star. A mazal is a star, right, up in the heavens, right? And it's like when you say, thank my lucky star, that's where we get the idea of mazal, meaning luck. But if you change your place, you change your stars, right? So if you move from one city to the next, you look up in the heavens and there's different stars for you to see. So it means to change. So if you say Shana Tova in a way, you might be saying a good change. Shin Nun Hey also means to repeat or to learn. Those of you who study Talmud with me know that we study the Mishnah, which means learning or repetition, right? How do you learn something? By repeating it, right? And that's where we get. And so now we have, right? When you say Shana Tova, you could be actually thinking a whole bunch of things, right? A good year, great. A good change, even better, right? When you say Shana Tova, you're wishing somebody. For me, when I'm saying Shana Tova and people say he's saying a good year, what I'm also saying into myself, because I won't tell this to a person that I hope you change, but what I'm hoping for is that the new year brings them an opportunity to learn and to grow. And by growing, we change, right? It happens, right? None of us look like we did when we were cute little babies. None of us look like we did when we were cute teenagers, right? Well, maybe some of us do. Okay. But the idea is that we change and we hopefully change for the better. So when I say Lashana Tova, I'm hoping that we all have a good year and a good change for the better. A good change, right? Get rid of the negative and bring in the positive. Start a new habit. Do something different that allows you to grow. And that's what, like Mishnah, right? Learn. So then I was thinking about, what else? So we're at the beginning of a new month, the month of Tishrei, right? So today is, I think, the 4th of Tishrei, right? The 1st of Tishrei is obviously Rosh Hashanah, 2, 3, 4. So we're in the 4th. So at the very beginning of a new month. And if you look out tonight in the sky, you'll see a sliver of the moon, right? The new month is a sliver of the moon. And as the month progresses, the moon becomes full, so that when you get to the middle of the month, the 15th of the month, it's a full moon. And then it wanes, right? It waxes, it grows, and then it wanes until we get to the new month. But the Hebrew word for month is chodesh, chet, dalet, shin, right? It's a great root, because not only does it mean month, it also means something new, chadash, right? And so if you're studying Torah with somebody and you come up with a nice insight, they'll call it a chidush, right? A chiddush, right? Something new, something that hadn't been thought of before. So not only are we at a Shana Tova, we're at a new chodesh. We're at something new as well. So this is an amazing moment for us on the calendar. The possibilities are endless. It's all brand new, right? The month is telling us to do something chadash, do something new. The year is telling us to change and grow right now. is that amazing time to have a good change, to do something new. Shana and Chodesh. It's a time for new things on so many levels, right? It could be a new outlook. If you want, go get some new clothes, right? Because it's a tradition on the second day of Rosh Hashanah to put on an article of clothing that you hadn't worn before, so you could say the blessing Shehechianu, right? So it's all about renewal right now. Often we talk about renewal in Pesach, after the winter, the spring, the rebirth and everything. But right now is the time for spiritual renewal. The new month, the Chodesh Chadash, to mangle the Hebrew a little bit, right? It's a new month. It's a new year. It's time for us to be new as well. Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom.
Shana Tova,
Shana Tova.
and Gemar Tov. Anybody who wants to learn Hebrew, let me know. We can do it on Zoom. It's right there, waiting for you. Any level. Just putting it out there. Biblical Hebrew is fun as well. Sam. Kiddush. Sam is back. After Rosh Hashanah, nearly forgetting it on the first day. Why? Because Sam wasn't here. Sam was singing with the choir. Left me to my own devices, and look what happened. We are Friday evening Kiddush. Vayhi Erev Vayhi Boker Yom HaShishi Vayechulu HaShamayim V'Haaretz V'Chol Tzivam Vayachal Elohim Vayom HaShvi Melachto Asher Asa Vayishbot Vayom HaShvi'i Mikol Melachto Asher Asa Vayevarech Elohim Et Yom HaShvi'i Vayikadesh Oto Kivo Shabbat Mikol Melachto Asher Bara Elohim La'asot Savri Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Borei Peri Agafen Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Kiddushanu B'mitzvotav V'ratzavanu B'Shabbat Kodsho B'Ahava Uvratzon Hinchilanu Zikaron Lema'aseh V'Reishit Ki Hu Yom Techila L'Mikrae Kodesh Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim Kivanu V'Acharta V'Otanu Kidashta Mikol Ha'amim V'Shabbat Kodshecha V'Ahava Uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. That was Kiddush. All right, we are going to close out, or beginning to close out our service with Aleinu, page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'ratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adam shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yoser haaretz umoshav yekaro b'shamayim imhal ushchinatu zo begov hei meromim Hu Eloheinu ein od. Emet Malkeinu efes ulato. Batatu v'torato. V'yadata hayom v'hashivota. Elevavecha. Ki Adonai hu Elohim. Vashamayim bimahal. V'al haaretz mitachai ein od. Hakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'nehemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad. We are in the season of repentance, as they will call it in our psalm. And so we read Psalm 27. Psalm 27, LeDavid, as it's known, a psalm of David, through the month of Elul and all the way through Hoshana Rabbah. Some people stop at Yom Kippur, but it's such a beautiful psalm and has so much meaning that I, for one, have the minhag of reading it through Hoshana Rabbah. And so I know it's not in the Siddur if you have it at home, but it is here and we have it. And so we're going to read it responsively in English. A Psalm of David. Adonai is my light and my help. Whom shall I fear? Adonai is the strength of my life. Whom shall I dread?
Neither do a strong ear slander me when foes threaten, they stumble and fall. The armies be arrayed against me with no fear. The wars threaten, I remain steadfast in my faith.
One thing I ask of Adonai, for this I yearn, to dwell in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, to behold God's beauty, to pray in God's sanctuary.
Hide me in his shrine, safe from peril. God will shelter me beyond the reach of disaster, and raise my head high above my enemies.
I will bring God offerings with shouts of joy, singing, chanting praise to Adonai.
Adonai, hear my voice when I call. Be gracious to me and answer. It is you whom I seek, says my heart. It is your presence that I seek, Adonai.
Do not hide from me. Do not reject your servant. You have always been my help. Do not abandon me. Forsake me not, my God of deliverance.
Though my father and my mother leave me, Adonai will care for me.
Teach me your way, Adonai. Guide me on the right path to confound my oppressors.
Do not abandon me to the will of my foes, for false witnesses have risen against me, for bears of malice and lies.
Yet I have faith that I surely shall see Adonai's goodness in the land of the living. Hope in Adonai, be strong, take courage, and hope in Adonai. Le'ulei hamati lerot b'tuv Adonai be'eretz chaim, kaveh el Adonai, chazak v'yametz libecha, dekaveh el Adonai. Beautiful psalm. One of these days, if I can't find it, I'm going to translate it myself, because it's beautiful and most translations leave out the really important stuff. So we'll work on that. This week, we continue the Shloshim for Randy Miller. This week, we observed the following yahrzeits: Arnold Gottfried, Nan Tesser's father; Barrett Skull, husband of Elaine, father of Rhonda and Diane; David Freeman, Bruce and Robbie Freeman's father, Sophie Brodoff's brother; Isaac Hassel, relative of Pauline; Lake Poland Jr., father of Lake, Marilyn, Lois Ann, Rosalind, and Annette; Charles S. Bro, second son of F and Irene, Tony's father; Louis Gaffin, Bernie Hyman, Jack Hyman's cousin; Victoria Lee Messenger, Judy Lentz's granddaughter; Ann Piddick, Carol Katz's mother, Hyman Schenker; Joan Snyder, Stephen Snyder's cousin, Sophie Schreiber, Barbara Gross's mother, Fred Island, relative of Ed, Gladys Hamill, Dennis's mother, Violet Butcher, Rabbi David's mother. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us always, and may they all rest in peace. Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hiruteh, v'amlik malchuteh, v'chayechon v'omechon, uv'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam lomei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudusha brichu le'ela u'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromah hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. All right, friends. Just a couple of quick announcements. Service is tomorrow morning at 9. Service is tomorrow morning at 10. Sunday morning at 9. No class this Sunday. Monday night, we will have our Genesis deep dive. We'll do that on Monday night. I missed it last week because, what was I doing? Oh, yes, it was Rosh Hashanah. And we were otherwise engaged. So deep dive on Monday night at 6:30. And then Tuesday night, it's quiet. And then Wednesday night, it's Kol Nidre. And then Thursday, it's Yom Kippur. Or technically, the real name is Yom HaKippurim. All right, but we have abbreviated it to Yom Kippur, or Yom Kippur, as the Ashkenaz would say. So that's Thursday starting at 9 a.m. And then we'll be back Friday for Shabbat. It goes Yom Kippur and then Shabbat this year. It's a rabbi's nightmare, a short week, and then it's right at Shabbat. Rabbis like it, and I'll let you in on a trade secret. Rabbis like it when the holidays fall on Shabbat, because then it's like Shabbat and a holiday, boom, you're done. That's it, right? Yom Kippur on Shabbat for me is delightful. It's I don't mind the fast. The day goes very quickly, but when Yom Kippur falls on a Thursday or a Wednesday, it's a very long day. So, but that's this coming week, and then we'll be back Friday night for Shabbat, and then the following week it's Sukkot. It's Sukkot, the fall harvest season. So, not too much going on this week, just a little holiday called Yom Kippur. Right? So, lots going on, and there'll be a schedule sent out because we're going to have services online, and we'll have an online study session, and then we'll have Yizkor online, and then Ne'ilah online. So we're going to try to schedule everything so that we end right when we're supposed to end. Not too soon, not too late. We're just right. Like Goldilocks, right? Was that Goldilocks? Right? What was the bear that had the just right? The baby bear. Baby bear, everything was just right. All right, so we're going to try to be baby bear. All right, page 321, we'll close out with Adon Olam. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa b'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado imloch nohora v'hu haya v'hu hoveh Vehu yihye b'tifara, vehu echad v'ein sheni, lahamshilo lahachbira, b'li reshit, b'li tachlit, v'lo ha'os v'hamisra, vehu eli v'chai goali, וסוחב לי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו אף יברוכי, והייתי שם ויהירה, ואמרוכי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא. All right, let's see who sent their greetings. Mom, Shana Tova to all from Rabbi's mom and Cliff. Yes, they were here for Rosh Hashanah. Thank you to all the people who said hello to them and welcomed them. They appreciated that. ML and Herman Glazer retracted a message, but I'm going to, they brought it back. Wishing all a good Shabbat and a healthy and happy new year. Thank you to ML and to Herman. Melanie Samuels from the holy city of Brooklyn. Lashana Tova to all. And thank you, Rabbi, for your beautiful service. Well, you're welcome. Shana Tova to you. Hope all is well. And then we had one more retracted. Okay. Everyone have a Shabbat Shalom and a good Shabbos, a Shana Tova, a Gamar Tov. Be careful out there, and we'll see you soon.